Hi, this is Trade Pastor, and welcome to the Horoscope 101 channel, and also Trade Pastor Saturday reviews, horror reviews, volume, I think it's 7, but I can't be sure. Well, hold on, let's see, you can be sure. Let's double check that. I'll let you know what volume. Like I said, this is a video that I film for the Horoscope 101 channel, and also for the Trade Pastor Saturday reviews, horror reviews. And it's, hold on, let's see, yeah, volume 7. Okay? And anyway, the movie that I love old Hollywood, I love old horror as far as, you know, as well as new horror, but I love particularly old, classic Universal horror. And there's a movie that I saw, actually, when I got this set, the Universal Horror Collection. This is the DVD version because of the lovely figureheads. Yeah, they had one with Frankenstein and Wolfman films and Dracula films and the Frankenstein monster films. So I went to Bela Lugosi film that was on, well, a Dracula film, and something on here that I didn't know existed at the time that I bought this. Okay, there's a movie called Dracula's Daughter, okay, which came out in 1936. Okay, and this is supposed to be like a direct sequel to Dracula, and actually, again, it picks up, the beginning of this picks up exactly right after the events in the original Dracula movie, the one with Bela Lugosi. And this one, you have, in the beginning of it, you have these two bumbling police inspectors, sort of like Abbott and Costello, coming down the steps in the Carfax Abbey. It's all quiet, and they come upon Renfield's body. Even though if you saw the end of Dracula, that's impossible where he is. But nonetheless, they find Renfield's body, with his broken neck, and of course they're looking around and just, wondering, something else is going to come up, and they make, and one guy is particularly afraid, and then one guy decides to say, "Let me go check the next room," and then before he does that, out walks Dr. Van Helsing. Okay, and they tell him, to freeze, and actually you see another, the other police inspector finally goes to the next room and he finds a corpse in there, of course, with a stake through his heart, which is Dracula, and of course they arrest Van Helsing on the suspicion of murder, 2 murders. They find 2 bodies, so they arrest him for that, for the apparent murder of 2 people, and then of course he explains tries to explain to the police commissioner about Dracula and what he is and why he did what he did. But of course, they're basically telling him, I'm sorry, it's not a defense. I'm Dracula, vampires. It's not a defense. I'm going to charge you with murder. Okay, but you got to come up with a better excuse because we have 2 bodies here, dead bodies, and you admit that you killed them. So, at least Dracula, you admit you killed. So we need you. You need to kind of mount to defense. And Van Helsing, smooth as ever in this movie, says, "Listen, I did what I did, but there is only one other man that maybe that I can convince that Dracula did exist, and I had to slay him. Dr. Jeffrey Garth, okay, a student of his, okay, he's a famed psychiatrist." So they actually call for this guy, and he's out actually hunting somewhere, and he gets called back by his faithful servant Janet, secretary Janet, who interrupts him, and tells him, "Listen, you have to come back to London because your friend Dr. Van Helsing is being charged for murder." Okay, and of course, that being his mentor, of course he decides to go back. Okay. Meanwhile, the 2 bodies of, Dracula and Renfield are being guarded by the 2 scared policemen who are waiting for Scotland Yard to come by and actually take over the bodies and bring them back to London. When, there's a mysterious figure that comes to the station who actually, a woman who's dressed, in head to toe in dark clothes, and she has all you can see basically is her eyes, and she just says, "Listen, I want to see the body of Count Dracula." And of course, the police, the scared police officer says, "No, you can't see him. It's a murder. Investigate. You can't see him." And of course, she shows the magic ring, and basically tells him he's going to forget, and next thing you know, he wakes up, and when the next police commissioner comes with the gentleman from Scotland Yard, and that's when he inspects it and then finds out there's only one body there. There's not two bodies. There's only Renfield left. That somebody apparently stole Dracula's corpse. And then later you see out in the middle of some dense, dark forest, you see a fire burning, and you see a woman out in the field basically saying, casting, saying, burning Dracula's body, saying, let the evil pass and shall ever be gone. And then in the distance you see a character, which we'll call Sandor. You see, and he's observing this. And then later you find this character named Sandor, who's sort of like the manservant of this Dracula's daughter. And you find out later, she basically kind of monologues a little bit, that she's finally going to be free of all the evil, and that Dracula's dead, and now she can see the light and all this. And then of course, her faithful manservant Sandor reminds her that that he basically kind of tells her, listen, you're still going to see the darkness, and you're still going to see light. You're still Dracula's daughter, basically. So he basically tells her that you're still going to see Dracula's daughter. And of course, sure enough, the next night she gets that feeling in her, that craving, and then she puts in this movie, kind of her going out, she basically puts on her magic ring and wraps herself up again and goes out, and then you see her following following a gentleman, and of course later they find that gentleman, of course, and he's been drained of blood and bite marks on his neck. And then later you find out this character, who we call Dracula's daughter, is actually going by the name of Contessa Maya Zelenska. Okay, and she's kind of been welcomed to society, as it were, and where she actually runs into Dr. Jeffrey Groff. He's there as a friend of a society lady, and she introduces herself, and he basically explains to her about the human mind and stuff, and they're talking about Van Helsing's case, about how he's being tried for 2 murders, or 1 murder at least, since they have only the body of Renfield. And she basically becomes intrigued, that he basically tells her, listen, there's, a human mind can train itself to forget things and be free of things, or like open their mind. And she, of course, is interested in it immediately, and she wants to be free of the curse of being Dracula's daughter. But he, of course, he's busy with Van Helsing, and he can't really see her directly. But in the meantime, of course, she has her weakness again, and she goes out again and meets a young lady this time. And this movie is, and you know what happens after she meets the old lady, meets a young lady. This movie is a nice mix of, it has, the serious drama with the Van Helsing being charged with a murder, and it has a nice little undercurrent of comedy in it, because Dr. Jeffrey Garf, him and his secretary Janet, they have kind of this bickering kind of feud, where he gets frustrated with her, and she's always kind of making, needling him all the time, and you can tell they're in love, but they have this back and forth with them. And then you also have Gloria Holton, who plays the daughter of Dracula, who's really good at her part. She's really, dark-haired, brunette, who's, has this air of sadness to her, that she's cursed with being Dracula's daughter, and she wants to be relieved of it, but of course she kind of gives in to her worst nature on several occasions. And then you have Sandor, played by Irving Pechow, who looks very weird. He's dressed up sort of, he's her manservant, and he's not quite a vampire, I think, because there is a moment in the movie where he sees a crucifix and he kind of shields his eyes, but yet you see him protecting her and hanging over Dracula's daughter, the Contessa, and guarding her, when she rests during the daytime. So I think he's sort of half vampire, not, because he actually moves around in the daytime, but she can't. Okay, and basically, like I said, basically this movie is her, trying to find a cure, or at least seeking the help from the doctor, Jeffrey Garf, to kind of purge of this air, this implied air of sadness that, you know, being the daughter of Dracula, that she, you know, that she has, and she's trying to prevent herself from killing and wanted to go to the light. But of course, like I said, she gives into her nature on several occasions. And like I said, you still have, like I said, you have that nice mix of a little comedy in there and kind of romantic thing from Dr. Jeffrey Garth and his secretary Janet. But you also have the nice serious drama too from Professor Van Helsing, played by Edward Vance Sloan, who played it in the original Dracula as well, and he's really good too as Van Helsing. And because I like how confident he is when like normally, like you think he would give in and say, "Listen, okay, this wasn't Dracula that I killed. This is some man that was killing people, and I killed him." But no, he's firm in his belief. Yeah, this was Dracula. Okay, and I killed him for this reason. And I like how confident he is. And like I said, you also have the comedy of the two police inspectors, or sort of like the Abbott and Costello. I think Laurel and Hardy is kind of more appropriate in their bumbling and their being terrifyingly afraid, while they're guarding the bodies that they find. Anyway, but I'll give this movie, Dracula's Daughter, like I said, had good atmosphere in it, and like I said, the story was pretty much, like I said, then the violence, as it were, is just kind of implied. You don't really see her, but the menace is there. Okay, because one of her victims, one of the victims of Dracula's Daughter, she actually survives, and she gets hypnotized, and the doctor tries to actually hypnotize her and bring her out, and of course she basically describes what happens to her, which we saw in the movie, and she kind of explains to the doctor, when he hypnotizes her, what happened to her and who attacked her, and of course that's when he figures out who exactly Dracula's daughter really is. Okay, and it's a good movie, good atmosphere. I'm going to give Dracula's Daughter, it's only 71 minutes, so it kind of moves. It doesn't drag out, which like most of these horror movies are like less than 80 minutes, which is okay. But this movie, it's a decent sequel, I think, to Dracula. Not fantastic, just decent. And I would give it a 6.5. Okay? Okay, it's like I said, it's entertaining to watch, and like I said, I think Gloria Holden as Dracula's daughter is really good and really tragic too, and you do kind of feel for her in a way that she's trying to stop herself and go to the light and get cured, but of course she has to give in to her nature. But it's a good movie. Like I said, good performances by the actor who played Van Helsing, and even the I like the little romantic love push thing from Dr. Jeffrey Garth and his secretary Janet. I think they have good chemistry together. And that. So anyway, so this is 6.5 for Dracula's Daughter. Okay, and let me know what you think. If you've seen Dracula's Daughter, feel free to leave comments down below. And this is Trey Passer for the Horoscope 101 channel and Trey Passer Saturday Reviews, saying so long and take care.